Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, Supercharge SharePoint with AI-powered agents. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Gail Kozakowski, Head of Marketing here at Crucial Logics. Before we start, we wanted to let you know that the session, if you can change the slide, Avnish, we wanted to let you know that the session is being recorded, so you'll be in listen-only mode. But feel free to participate with any comments and questions via the chat and the Q&A feature that you see at the top of your screen. I'd like to introduce our speakers. And if you can just change the slide. Desiree is a principal consultant with us here at Crucial Logics with over 15 years of experience in information architecture, design, and governance. She's designed corporate intranets, cloud migration, system integrations, data analytics. She's an expert in process automation and business transformation to the modern workplace. Prabjot is a cloud solution architect at Microsoft with over a decade of experience driving business growth, navigating complex partner organizational landscapes, structuring complex deals, and architecting scalable solutions. Avnish is a cloud solution architect at Microsoft with over 2 decades of experience with application innovation and modernization with Azure OpenAI programs and initiatives. And then with that, I'll hand it over to Desiree.
Thank you very much, Gail. Avnish, you advance the slide. So we're really excited to be here for this webinar today. We're hearing from many of our clients that they're interested in learning more about what Microsoft Copilot can do for them, and they want to start to begin using it. Which is why I'm very excited to be discussing, Copilot and SharePoint agents today. So first, we're going to start with just an introduction to generative AI, how Copilot works, what Copilot agents are, and then we'll dive into SharePoint agents and the exciting new features that are on Microsoft's roadmap. So I'll hand it over to Avnish from Microsoft to take us through it.
Sure, thanks. Just quick check, audible, I'm audible. Voice is clear. Okay, so what we discussed when we discuss about this topic, basically there are 2 major chunks of it. First thing is about some fundamentals to make sure we understand what is Gen AI in general, very high level, what Copilots are and what's the agent story. And then Prabjot will cover from there on the SharePoint agents, specifically SharePoint agents, and then probably roadmap. A few things before I go into detail. So Microsoft and the focus and the industry is moving to agents. So I think next few years will be everything about agents. So I think you need to understand agents, what they are. And we are releasing a lot of agents. SharePoint is one good example, but we are releasing, and I have a slide somewhere out there, where we are releasing quite a few new agents, very powerful agents from Microsoft side. And again, there are a lot of third-party agents coming up. So yeah, a lot of excitement out there. And agents, one important thing with agents is agents basically bring stickiness and it helps with adoption. And probably once we go through that, we'll see how that can help.
Yeah, and what you mean by agents is more of like extensibility and integration with other like apps and services, right?
Perfect, yep. And again, there are a lot of acronyms being out there, plugins, agents, everything. So I think everything you can merge together. It is basically, as English says, it's an agent which helps your Copilot to achieve specific tasks. And we'll cover a few slides on that. Before I go, one important thing with Copilot or anything on Azure OpenAI or any type of models you're using, Gen AI models you're using, large language models, small language models, important part is it's about everything runs on trust. Now, what it means is any data you use in your Copilot, for example, you're asking for a RFP or very highly confidential document out there, it is completely secured. So it's not shared with different customers. Even if the LLM is shared, some of the processing power, it's a frozen LLM. None of the data is used to train the internal models. None of the prompts you are typing or questions you are typing or documents you are providing to the LLM or OpenAI or Copilot, they are not used by Microsoft in any way to train, to understand, to improve their products. So we have a strong, very strong privacy, security, governance story behind Copilot and Azure OpenAI, more or less. Very important for enterprises. Now, a few things also, I'll quickly go through a few Gen AI concepts. Gen AI, when I say Gen AI, you can assume any large language models out there. So we have Azure OpenAI. There are other large language models from different providers out there, large providers. So there are quite a few models, and there is a long list of models which are available called small language models. So GenAI currently today's session and Copilot is focused on the latest OpenAI GenAI / OpenAI Microsoft OpenAI models, which is currently I think GPT-4o 4.5 is about to I think it's gone live. We had an announcement a couple of days back. So yeah, innovation is happening at breakneck speed. Few things about generative AI. AI has been there for quite some time. It's not a new concept, but Gen AI is sort of a new concept in terms it's a pre-trained large model with trillions of data, and it lights up very interesting scenarios. For example, bots have been there for quite a few time. I think pretty long time. AI has been there for a long time. With Gen AI, the quality of responses, the interaction, the natural language interactions basically go to a different level. Again, I'm seeing that in my day-to-day life. So again, for example, if you pick up your phone and you basically say something in audio, the chances are it's going back to an LLM to understand what you are saying and then respond accordingly. Same, I use Android. I'm an Android guy, but when I go to my Google Maps, and typically I speak very fast, and my experience was with the Android Auto in my car was subpar to start with some time back. But lately, whatsoever I say, the hit ratio, the success ratio of that is 95%, 99%. Amazing experience, and that's all light up using generative AI. Small things, daily life, and all these things basically are improving using Gen AI, including development and all. So a few scenarios out here you can use Gen AI in unexpected manners. There are a lot of scenarios, and I'll talk about a few of them. And again, Copilot, when I talk about Copilot and when we talk about Copilot today, mostly we assume that is M365 Copilot, but then there are about 20 plus Copilots available. Everything is a Copilot today, and we are adding Copilots on everything possible. Few of the Copilots are free, few are not. And again, the most focus will typically is on M365. When I say M365, we are talking about Copilots which are specific to Word, PowerPoint, Teams. Probably you are dealing with them day in, day out. Again, there are other Copilots.
So integration with that for
yeah.
for asking it questions about the content or trying to generate content based on other documents or files you might have. But then you also have things like Copilot integrated in like Power Apps and some of the other features and applications within M365, right?
Yes, exactly. So M365 is a set of products, but then there are Copilots using the same sort of engine in the backend. Everything, basically anything you say Copilot uses Gen AI / Azure OpenAI instance in the backend, more or less, except for there are some in between semantics are different, some hops are different. Like if I use GitHub Copilot, if I use something in Power BI, like a Copilot, if I use it in Azure, slightly different mechanism, but in the end, the fundamental is backend Azure OpenAI Chat GPT-4o model. O models are reasoning models. Again, so yeah, security, Microsoft Security, Microsoft Windows. There's a Copilot in Windows now. You can look at it. Again, there's a free Copilot also if you want to try it out. So there, Xbox, new Copilot, LinkedIn, everywhere you'll see a Copilot. Fundamentally, they work in the same way. So if you can write a prompt for any one Copilot, you can do that on all of them. And I said prompt. Prompt is a way to ask a question to Copilot, and that's it takes time to learn that because I am been using Bing, Google for long, and I am very attuned to keyword search type of things. So the interaction with Copilot is very different. So yeah, again, that's a discussion for another day. But yeah, so maximize value, consider use cases. Again, they are gen use cases. They are generic in nature, but then they apply to anything Copilot, like chat with your data. So you can chat with your data. That was like Power BI, for example, or Fabric, for example, intelligent call centers. And again, there are low hanging fruits. You can enable in your call center. You can enable, like in SharePoint Agent, we'll talk about a scenario. You can dump documents, all your tickets, what type of question people are asking, fact, in a SharePoint library, and you can create an agent on top of it, add it to your Copilot. So somebody calls you, you can start talking, you will automatically see that it will show you all the relevant information. You can keep asking questions that this customer is calling me, if there are any tickets for that customer already, if you can give me a summary of all the tickets. Just an example. Very easy to do.
And kind of going back to what you're talking about with like Power BI, and then also even with like Excel, with it being built in, you can ask Copilot questions about your data. And so if you wanted to see, what kind of sales trends you have over the year, things like that, it can really pull that information depending on the type of prompt and how detailed of a prompt you write it. It can serve that information up from you based on the data that it has accessible to it, right?
Perfect. Yeah, and it can also in Excel. You said Excel. Excel is a very Copilot. It can do write Python scripts for you. It can create pivot tables for you. So again, possibilities are unlimited.
Yeah, generate
But again,
formulas for you. Exactly.
yeah, exactly. It's like amazing. It takes time to get attuned to that whole model, but yeah, amazing capabilities. Creativity, again, you can create generators, you can create custom apps. So GitHub Copilot, I am becoming more addicted to that. So you can write, you can ask, give me JSON to basically some code, Java code to basically deserialize a JSON file, serialize. Again, I'm not saying that today you go and you ask that to create me this solution, it will create the whole solution end to end, but it is a very good tool to reduce your time, optimize your time. So yeah, very powerful tool. And every passing day, we are coming up with new models, more powerful models, like 4.5 is out. And I think AGI, general AI, should be available, not this year, if not next year. And so they're getting powerful. So creativity, again, another creativity side is you can ask it to create your marketing material. For example, you can ask it to create an image. So these models are multimodal and they can basically understand videos. They can understand. You can ask, okay, this is a video. Can you detect an anomaly in that? So you can be very creative with what you do, and you can ask it to generate PowerPoints, words, and all those things. Again, reasoning, they can do deep reasoning. So most of the new models, including some from competition out there, but a lot of O models we have are reasoning, deep reasoning models. So when you ask a question, it does a lot of semantics internally. It looks like that I asked a question and it responded. It doesn't respond like that. So a lot of stuff goes in between. A lot of content safety, a lot of things happen out there. Tailoring, you can enhance products and services. Simple scenario. So you're working with a retailer and they had a list of or photographs of a lot of their product catalog. So you can ask GenAI an automated process to look at that photograph and put a description in place. You don't have to sit there and update a description. So yeah, again, a lot of scenarios. Single slide, I want to cover this Azure AI Studio. So again, when you talk about a solution on OpenAI, including Copilot, it is not just one Gen AI component in the back. So there are a lot of things you can use, mix and match. You can use Azure AI Speech, AI Vision, Document Intelligence. So all these things come together. And again, one interesting thing is Microsoft, for Copilot, we are bound to a specific model. But if you go with other options, then we have about 1,800 plus models in the model catalog out here. You can see that model catalog. And again, GPT family models are available, but then you have models from Llama 2, Llama 4, you have models from other variety, Hugging Face. So there are a lot of models, a lot of combination, and all this basically plays an important role in your Copilot or agent. When you say agent, they are internally using a combination of these services, more or less. Again, it's isolated. Again, Copilot is a good entry point. You don't need to understand how 4.0 works, how to write a prompt, meta prompt, a context. Copilot does that for you. Again, few models out there. Again, this slide is not old, but the cadence of change is so much that every month we are struggling to keep up. So 4.0 model, GPT 4.0 is available, then 4.5, as just the announcement was, I think, a couple of days back. So 4.5 is there. They are all the latest. These are multimodal. When I say multimodal, even Copilot, that's why, because it works on top of 4.0. They can understand code, they can understand stuff, they can understand videos, they can understand images. So again, a lot of options out there. DALL-E for images. Again, there's a designer option where you can create images, marketing material, PowerPoints, a lot of things. Okay, so quickly, quick run through on Copilot architecture. So it's a high level. I'll go through these slides. Again, I think it takes time to basically digest all that flow, a lot of information out here. But typically when you type an agent / Copilot, when you type something, a question out there, this is the typical flow. So, and whenever I say prompt means a question, when I ask a question or I type something in that. So once it starts, the user prompt is sent to a backend engine for M65. That engine basically goes back, and this is how even SharePoint works. So it goes back, so there is some pre-processing. What happens in pre-processing, it uses some very intelligent semantics internally, a lot of intelligent code and agentic core out there, which basically takes some help from these 4.0 model out there. And what it does is it detects your question and it tries to ground it. Grounding is context. So it adds the context. That's how agent works. So when I will talk about SharePoint agent, that's how internally it works. So when you ask a question,
then also just kind of just show people based on what you're seeing on this diagram, maybe explain what you mean by the Microsoft 365 service boundary. And really, as this diagram kind of progresses, you'll kind of see that a lot of this Copilot into prompts and information stays within your service boundary.
Yes, so that is another big discussion or important concern is that what happens to my data? And there are a lot of things which basically can influence that. For example, if I'm in EU has GDPR. If I'm in some specific country, so there are multiple things, and Microsoft is pretty much, I think, on top of that game. Like what we just not make sure that it's a boundary and nothing is shared across even tenants or customers. We are also, there are a lot of add-ons where you can do a multi-geo deployment add-on, where if you have a global organization and you are sitting in EU, you have a headquarters in US, something out there. So it makes sure that all the processing and storage of data is in your tenant and processing happens in that region boundary. Plus, yeah, these instances of the LLMs are different than the instances which are used by AI Foundry, for example. So there are multiple instances running and frozen LLM. They're called frozen LLMs because they don't learn from your content. So they sit, so the boundary is very important, and we have a lot of controls in terms of policies, labels, security. And one very important thing out there is, so when the system basically hits, it uses a lot of graph connectors. You'll see out here, it's checking your Microsoft tenant for emails, files, meeting, chats, calendars, everything it has access to, including SharePoint. And it uses some agents out there which can look at Dataverse or external engines like Bing. For example, you might ask your co-pilot, what is the MSFT stock price today? And the LLMs are not trained every day. So they don't know the current today's information. So what the engine will decide is, okay, let me go to Bing and ask for that question. And Bing knows today's, if you go to Bing or Google search, I can say that. So you can go there and you can search for MST, and they know they will pull the right information. So it will use that engine. Very important part out here is it will only access the information internally where you have access to. For SharePoint agent everywhere, it's very important. If I have a SharePoint site and I don't have access to that, that information Copilot will not pick up. So your security is paramount. So when I say Outlook emails, it is just your emails in your context. It's not everybody's emails. And same for calendar meetings. Whatsoever is available across, it will pick up. What is not available, it will not pick up. So your information within an organization is also very important. So we, like in Microsoft, we have so many people. I'm doing fine on time. We have so many people, so many organizations. There are so many projects which are highly confidential. Even I, as an employee, should not have access to that. So when I ask something to that Copilot, it will not respond with that information. Very important. And again, this is where the agents sit, and they basically help and augment this core engine out there for pre-processing and grounding the data, giving LLM some context. So LLM doesn't knows about my emails, and I can go and I can ask my Copilot, okay, please tell me what I have missed in my emails in last 5 days. You can ask that question, and it will give you a nice summary. You can ask that, and what it will do, it will go and it will fire a graph connector to get your emails for last 5 days, and it will send that for LLM for a temporary time. LLM will summarize and respond. LLM will never have direct access to any of these data. That is only for the time when the context goes and comes back. Again, same. So once the context is here, the data goes back to the large language model, in our case, 4.0. And in between, there are a lot of things happen. I will not go in detail. Content safety, it will make sure there's no violent words out there. There's no hate words from both the sides. So all those guardrails are built into the system, which will control what happens. And again, when you see RAI means responsible AI. So we are very clear about responsible AI. Again, there are a lot of information from Microsoft. We are very, I should not say touchy is not the right word, I think, but we are very careful about what's exposed and how we control. And we have experience. We have some hard experience in the last few years to learn from the field that what are the challenges. So we have a lot of things built in, guardrails like content safety, jailbreaks. So people can try to create a very sneaky question or a prompt and get some information which they should not have access to. There are systems which will block that. So there are a lot of things which goes inside. And
Yeah,
then
so that's
LLM
with the large language model and the security controls from Microsoft perspective. But then also, I mean, this also comes back to it's pulling in information that you have access to. So that's why it's really critical for, as an organization that you know where your data is stored and classify it and protect it properly. That's why it's important to have like information protection, sensitivity labels, DLP policies, and other things in place as well. Permissions with SharePoint and OneDrive also especially.
Perfect. Yep. And again, there are a lot of things you can do. DLP, sensitivity labels, you can do security. So yeah, that's a complete deep discussion itself. So typically out here, thanks. And completely out here, LLM response. Again, it goes back to that core engine. Why it goes back? For post-processing, it will do some compliance and purview assessment. For example, you have switched on auditing. So what prompt you have typed in an enterprise, it will audit that. It will keep it somewhere. Again, it will be secure. Again, it will only be accessible to admins. But yeah, it will do some post-processing, look for specific words, and the response goes back. So when you type a question, a lot of things happen internally. So it's a very powerful engine, a lot of semantics go in. But the good part with Copilot is you don't have to worry about all this complexity. You don't have to worry about tokens, or you don't have to worry about which instance, what's the latency, and the system will take care of all those things. You have to just, I think it's all about just one license per user, and then everything works. Very important concept, Microsoft Graph. Internally, co-pilots and agents, both they use a concept called graph for every information we access. And again, graph is a specific concept. So again, if you are trying to manage your M365 onboard people, you can use these APIs, MS Graph. This is a specific SDK available. And again, it pulls data. For example, there are graph connectors for ServiceNow. If you are using ServiceNow for support, there's an agent for that. It uses an internal graph connector to pull the right information. And again, there are graph connectors for everything internally. Like you can see all the M65 like teams. So it can, the graph connector, which can look, so we are recording this session, for example, we have a transcript and my graph connector will be able to read it. So if I type in my chat, please summarize this call, it will internally use an agent which will call my graph connector and will pull the data and then summarize it. That's how. RAG, I'll just give a brief. RAG is retrieval augmented generation. Everything today in OpenAI or GenAI or Copilot or any other offering from partners or competition out there, everything is based on this concept in an enterprise called retrieval augmented generation, RAG. That's how user prompt is your question. You send the question. Again, the data is grounded, context added, as we saw in that flow. Chat history, again, that's very important. And again, I'll just take 1 second to talk about that. It's important. Chat history also goes as part of your copilots. So when we do an end user training on copilot prompts, if you ask abrupt questions, if you ask vague questions, like I ask a question and then I ask a second question, it always has a context. So I say, okay, give me a summary of all the items. And next question, you don't have to say the whole thing again. You can say just, can you show me the same information in a table? So it will know what you are saying. It has context always. Your history goes there. So if you have very abrupt questions and all those things, system might get confused. This is a very important thing, that same question, different scenarios, you may get different responses. You need to be aware of all these semantics, but this is how the system works. User prompt, grounding, chat history, and the system prompt. This basically creates a prompt internally. Again, this is a fundamental you need to understand. You don't need to get into the complexities of it with Copilot. But yeah, you need to understand that so that you can write proper prompts, normally a good practice. So this is agents. I think I'm doing fine on time, and we'll give you a brief on agents. So everything going forward will be agents. So there are a lot of agents out there. If you have the license already, you can go to your teams. You'll see a list of agents already. Microsoft is rolling out a lot of agents out there. I have a slide with a list of agents which are coming up. Very powerful, very interesting agents, and we'll talk about that once I hit that slide. Copilot and agents, how they work together. Copilot, you can understand it as a UI, basically it's a human augmentation, a bot, an intelligent bot running on GenAI, works as your personal assistant. Agents are expert systems which are like sort of bot in bot. So there is an agent we can create which is only responsible for pulling some financial data from some of my backend. My Copilot will use a set of agents to resolve a specific question. I can ask a question, it might go back, it may decide, okay, you have 3 agents, let me check with all 3 agents and then get that information back. So agent is like an agent to help copilots. You can create as many agents you want. You can extend your M365 Copilot. So you can add an agent to your Copilot flow. And for example, for your line of business applications for ServiceNow, and when you type something in your teams, your system will understand what you are saying and it will pull that ticket information, for example, from ServiceNow. So basic concept, that's what agents
Yes, you can have an agent that connects to like your CRM or like Dynamics or something like that. And it can pull in information from those systems too.
Correct. And in that architecture, we showed that Dataverse, you want to get information from Dataverse, you want to get information from SharePoint, for example. Again, you can use agents. And that's what I think today's discussion will be in the second half about SharePoint agent. One agent, but yeah, there's a long list of agents coming up, very powerful agents out there. Very brief, how the whole system works. So Copilot is the interface for you to interact. Copilot Studio is a low-code, no-code tool to extend your M365. And the agents in the backend basically work together with the Copilot control system, our guardrails, content safety, to respond back to you very high level. 3 types of agents which will come. So 2 are available and 1 is in preview. So retrieval, typical retrieval, like grounding of information from your teams, from your chat history, from your transcript of a meeting, from your emails. These are all examples of that. Or getting a ticket status from ServiceNow or your internal line of business application. You can create that, very straightforward. You can create tasks. This is also generally available. So you can repeat it with tasks. For example, every month you send a specific report to somebody or a group, like monthly business review or something like a quarterly business review. You can automate that task. The agent will pick up from some location. Yeah, you might create something more advanced which will create the report also. I'd love to see that. My monthly business review, if agent can do it, that will be great. So it will create a task you can create, and it will pick it up. It will do that action. It will send it. For example, you have an support ticket and you have an SLA and you miss the SLA. The agent can look at that and it will escalate automatically, send an email. So agents can do something similar what we used to do, but yeah, much more intelligently using a different framework altogether. So again, a lot of examples. Autonomous. Again, this is very advanced topic, and you can create agents which can autonomously make decisions, do deep reasoning, and do very advanced tasks. Probably again, creating reports, taking some decisions that okay, my this quarter results are we are missing the results, the trends are not right. You want to do send some email, you want to send specific actions. You can do a lot of interesting stuff with autonomous agents. Few continuum of solutions like help. How do I connect to corporate network? Again, you can do that today. Go to your intranet site and do a keyword search, but then the experience is, I can say that now is subpar. You will get 10 different records, probably hundreds of results, and then you will try to look which link makes sense for me. In this case, Copilot, you can expose that. It's very easy to integrate your knowledge base with Copilot or using an agent. And you can ask this question, very natural, and Copilot will do all the reasoning and understanding and trying to get you the right results instead of showing you 100 results out there and you're trying to click on all the links. Refresh agent, you can ask like onboarding of employees. Somebody onboards your employee and you want to request for a laptop requisition. Again, you can do that. Again, budget management, customer support agents. Again, you can pick up an issue, try, summarize. I'm doing that for one of the partner today. I'll pick up all the support tickets he have and I'll ask them an AI engine, Gen AI engine to summarize it for me and try to tell me that is it resolvable by some training, for example. Very interesting scenario. Again, there are a lot of options out there. Bit confusing how to extend your Copilot, but Copilot Studio is what typically works best. And there are some agent builders, end user type of capabilities. You can create agents very simple. So SharePoint example, we'll see we can quickly turn around. I think it will take a few minutes to create an agent. Very powerful, very intelligent feature out there. Same again, you can do, again, you are more adventurous. You can go with Azure AI Foundry, do a lot of things out there. But Copilot is a good entry point. You don't have to know everything about Gen AI, 4O model, prompting. Very easy to extend. Again, Copilot Studio, solution to build and extend Microsoft Copilot agents. Again, what I've seen is creating specific agents for a customer need. Again, we are also rolling out a lot of agents, but this basically helps a lot of stickiness and helps with adoption. For example, I want to ask for my vacation, how many vacation days I have. Create an agent, look into your line of business application. What's our application like Workday if you're using back, and we have an agent for that. So you can ask how many vacation days I have left. Can you help me apply for a vacation? Everything can be done through agent and extended. Very straightforward. This is a low code tool, no code tool. Again, you can do that. I'll run through some videos. Okay, I think I'll reshare the screen if everything's okay because these are sounds and I keep forgetting that every time. Let me reshare my screen.
Yeah, so these are some pretty good examples of how we can really bring in a lot of integration and automation into things. And with what we're going to see with the low code, it's going to be so much easier to just kind of extend that capability.
Yes. And again, there are multiple options. So this is agent builder. This is for end users. End users can go in Teams and then do that. I'll run the video. Just tell me if you can hear the sound. Okay, let me run it.
Copilot agents can
Yep, I can hear
supercharge every business process, and we're bringing the power of agents to you right in the flow of your work, and we've made them incredibly easy to create. We'll start in BizChat, where we can open a simple agent for a field service technician. You're on site at the customer, and you get an error code that you've never seen before. You built a field service agent exactly for this. It has access to all your product knowledge and can give you step-by-step instructions in real time. Now watch how simple it is for anyone to create the agent we just saw and add it to Copilot. You fire up Agent Builder and describe what you want the agent to do. It needs to be able to reason over your product catalog and repair tickets to provide step-by-step troubleshooting instructions. Let's connect it to SharePoint so it has access to all the knowledge it needs. It's built in seconds, so you can start using it immediately, or edit and configure it to fit your needs. You can expand its knowledge base by tapping into resources like SharePoint sites or other IT-approved data sources. You can even update its name or image to align with your company's branding. So let's do that. You can test the agent right here, or just hit Create and you're done. And of course, the agent respects your organization's Microsoft 365 and SharePoint security permissions. Now your Copilot agent is ready in BizChat, and you can share it with your team.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
so
go.
with the end user one, oh, if
Microsoft
you can just pause it for a second. So with the end user one, like it pretty much makes it super easy to just say, these are the data sources that I want to pull my information from, which could be maybe documentation, it could be user guides, product manuals, things like that. And then it's going to be respecting that security on the SharePoint site and then pull that into the agent. So if people are asking questions, it can pull, those error codes or guides directly from like those product manuals. Is essentially what we just saw, right?
Perfect. Yep. And again,
Yeah.
this is one way to do it. And again, when we go ahead, I think once Prabjot takes over, probably in another couple of minutes, she might be saying I'm taking more time than I should be. But again, when we talk about SharePoint, there are multiple entry points. So there is one way to create a SharePoint agent. You can look at information, but there's a much more easier way to do it from SharePoint itself. And that's what we'll focus on the rest of this session.
Well, yeah, and it didn't necessarily have to be if it's just SharePoint. Like it could be, other repositories, a Dataverse. It could be, other things like that we just saw. But yeah, SharePoint's a good example, a good entry level point. And so in this video, this is going to be Copilot Studio, which is like more of a mid-level advanced way of doing it, right?
Low code, yeah, low code sort
Cool.
of.
Yeah.
Not when I think it probably I'll say power user sort of interface. The initial one was for any users, anyone who is using Teams. This one is slightly advanced, and again, the most advanced is AI Foundry or Visual Studio Code. Those options are available. Yeah, it's a small video. I'll go through that.
Copilot
Sounds
Studio
good.
allows users to enrich agents with advanced customizations, expanding its knowledge and even performing actions on behalf of the team. First, you open your agent in Copilot Studio. Here you can customize the knowledge an agent has, as well as the actions it can take. You want it to be able to place an order for new parts with your procurement team. Let's connect it to Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management. You're ready to update the agent and bring it back to the Teams chat where you were working on solving the customer's issue. Let's ask the agent to order the part it recommended. Your agent is on it, asking you to confirm before moving forward. Once you give it the go-ahead, it's done.
Perfect. I think probably this should be my slide. So I just added this slide in the morning. There are a lot of agents coming up. Microsoft is rolling. Again, you can create your own agents. Third parties are creating a lot of agents out there, ServiceNow, including Workday. But these are some of the agents which are coming up by Microsoft. Very powerful feature is interpreter agent. I'm trying to use it. I'm very excited about this agent. So once it rolls out, it will do a on-the-fly translation. So I'm talking in English and you want to understand, you want to listen to me in Spanish, or you are talking in Spanish and I want to hear you in English. I can set that up. Agent, again, depends on if it's rolled out. It's already, I think, interpreter agent is in public preview at this point in time. So if you have that, and I can talk to people and it will do, if I'm on video, it will synchronize my lips also. So it will be very natural. It will do the translation on the fly. There are still some rough edges because I speak very fast. So the agent takes time to understand and then translate. So, but yeah, amazing stuff. It supports Japanese. I think it supports 9 languages today, one agent, employee self-service agent. So this is an agent we are building for you where admin can go and configure that, ask for vacation. It will integrate with your backend payroll and all those things. So we are working on that. Availability will be Q2 2025. We have links out there and a project manager. So it's all about agents. I think the future is agents, probably the visibility I have for next few years. I don't know, something new will come after that, but it's all
Yeah, a lot
about.
of exciting things.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very powerful things as well.
Yeah. So I think I went through, a lot of information. I hope that made sense. And now we'll switch to the SharePoint agent part. Prabjot, back to you.
Sure. Thanks, Avnish. So I'll start sharing my screen. Okay, I'll start with where Avnish left off. We have like a lot of new agents coming up. SharePoint agent is already GA, whereas interpreter agent is in public preview, even the project manager, but employee service agent currently is in private preview. Still testing phase is going on. So the ones which are in public preview and GA, you can always play around with these and give us the feedback as well. So whenever we talk about AI, one most important thing is knowledge. Like it's really crucial. We generally use a phrase garbage in, garbage out. If the data which we are providing to agent is not the right, it's not transformed, not massaged properly, the output will not be correct. So that's why this is really important angle. How agent works. In agent, we have three important aspects. One is the content, which is like whichever file or data or any kind of information you have available data to your project, which you have stored in the SharePoint. Second step is your agent. Agent will leverage this content as well as part of LLM models, which are already trained to get the information based on whatever question you are asking. And the third one is collaboration. So once you create an agent, you can publish it, you can share with the external teams to use it, you can call it, put it in the email and send it, or you can use that link from the Teams channel, Teams chat as well. And with combination of all these three things, your agent is ready to make a better decision for your business. It can give you predictions and all that kind of stuff as well. Few important things from the SharePoint content perspective, how actually agent works. We have two kind of agents. One is ready-made agents, which are available at SharePoint level. You don't need to do any customization. But let's say you don't want to use all of your content. You want to create an agent for part of the documents which are available in the SharePoint. You can do that. That is called as customized agent, or you can use the term make your own agent. It's easy to use, easy to share. You can just publish it, create a link and share it in the email or in the Teams chat. And in the Teams chat, when you're calling an agent, use the term @mention. This will give you the results. Important thing is, let's say you have a couple of people who don't have access to the SharePoint library behind the scene, agent will honor that. It'll tell you, okay, the person there, some of the people in the chat doesn't have access. Whether you want me to go ahead and put the information in there or not, that is something a person who is adding a prompt, who is calling an agent, that person has to decide.
So you can use the agent from the SharePoint site itself or through Teams chat or wherever you're sharing it, right? And just
Exactly.
basically have the add mention of whatever the agent name is and ask it the prompt or the question, and then it'll retrieve that information for you based on your level of access.
Right. So this slide, if you look at it, on the first step, you see there is a small icon Copilot that is built in with for the whole SharePoint site. But on the right hand side, if you see, we're talking about a specific agent we are creating based on the need a person has or based on the need for a specific project. Just a double click on the first one, like in the scoped SharePoint or the built-in SharePoint, you just it will pick up all the data grounded in that SharePoint. You don't need to change anything from the content perspective. Agent will give you answer and it's readily available for everyone to use it. Only thing is this one, you cannot delete it. This will stay as is. It's an inbuilt agent.
So this is the default one that pulls in information that's stored across all of your lists and libraries in that SharePoint site?
Yes, right. Yeah. This one is double click on the customized agent or your own agent. What you do is you pick up certain folders or files, whatever you want to fill it, whatever information you want to pull it. Then you can share this. This will create a link, publish it, and then you use the @mention word in the Teams chat to interact with that agent.
And you can interact with this directly on the site as well if you wanted to. So you can switch from the default one to the custom one too.
Yep, if you give that link to a user. We'll go through another slide where you want to set it as a default agent as well. That also can be done within that specific site. So if we talk about the process, it's very easy to create it. Step one is just figure out the scope which you want to give to that agent. Step two is you just publish it and share that link. And third step is you can even customize that agent within the same M365 in the SharePoint UI as well. I'm going to go through these steps. First is just like a small, these slides are small demo. How do we do it? Select specific files. You can pick either folders or the files. And the third step is if you created it already, you can click on edit and you can customize the agent through the agent builder. Step 2 is just create a link, mark it as a publish this agent, and then put it in the Teams chat, that link, and use @mention word to get the information from the agent.
And so where's the agent that you create stored? Is it within the SharePoint site itself, or where is it located?
It's coming up. I do have slides on that
Okay.
as well, how backend it's stored and where it's stored. So third step is customize your agent. We have 3 options when we try to customize. You click on edit the agent. First step will be you can change the name, image, and provide the description, what this agent is for. Then on the second tab, you see the sources. Let's say for now you added only 4 folders out of it or 4 files, but you want to add more, you can do that. Go to that sources tab and you can add more sources. And the third is behavior. You want to give some specific kind of instructions, or sometimes we call it as system prompt as well. You can give those instructions and you can ask agent to behave in a certain way. That is, you can add in the same edit tab itself. And in case you want to do more customization, from this place only, you can go to the tab, customize your agent. Then this will open up a window like this. So basically, it's already integrated with Copilot Studio. From the same interface, you can click to Copilot Studio and you can add all third-party sources, or currently about 1,000 different connectors are available in the Copilot Studio, which you can leverage. Even you can publish that agent from the Copilot Studio too. But this feature is currently in private preview. What's a little bit on the backend? What's the file? This is like usually we have .docs file. Similar way, the agent file is .agent specification file. And behind the scene, this is a Java format. You can see here, all this Java object notations are there. And you were asking about the locations, right? So this SharePoint is stored under site asset/copilot folder.
And so then would other people have access to modify the agent as well if they have access to the site?
Depending on the access, what kind of access the other people have. If they don't have access to as an admin kind of a thing, they cannot modify. That's what it is. Like you have the security in place, built-in security. This will honor what kind of access to that SharePoint site that other user has it.
Yeah, so you could theoretically have multiple people be able to manage the agents on the site and be able to update those or collaborate on them. And then when you kind of mentioned telling the agent how it can interact with people, so you're almost like telling it, be knowledgeable, be an expert, have professional responses. You kind of tell it how to behave as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah, like you can tell it, oh, you are an agent to help with the travel. So those kind of small basic instructions you can provide over there. Like you said, be courteous, be sensitive to the emotions. Those kind of instructions you can provide over there.
Okay, that's really neat.
Yeah. So the difference between built-in agent and the customized agent is built-in agent for the site does not have any file. That's kind of controlled from the backend. But so that's why you won't be able to edit anything on that agent. You just need to create your own customized agent. General thing, like whatever things we can do with the normal file, same thing can be done with .agent file as well. You can move it, delete it, copy, rename, all these things can be done. And you can even maintain a version history for that file too. Scoping the content, an example, like if you go to sources tab, you'll be able to add more sources. You can remove the sources. So far, the general recommendation from Microsoft side is if you're creating a customized agent, keep the cap to 20 sites, folders, or files. Obviously, this will be improved, but for now, that's the limitation kind of a thing we have. That's for the kind of best results as a recommendation we are providing.
So if you have one folder that has 20 files, would that be the limitation, or is it like 20 folders, 20 files, 20 sites? Like
that's like that all depends on your need as well, right? Let's say if you have some specific folders in between those files, you need it to get a result from the agent, do that. But the better way to do is start small, test it out and see how it goes, and then you move to production. That's the recommendation. It's general also whenever we talk about any kind of security or these kind of things, we always say is like you just crawl, walk and run kind of scenario. So first test it out, take it slowly. But definitely if you take it in a smaller and manageable sets, you can create multiple agents. That way you can get better results rather than if you have a lot of information in one side and you're not getting the accurate results. And again, it talks about every slide, mostly you will see this information that agent will receive only information from the sources that a user will have access to. Let's say I created an agent, I published it, somebody else came in and they are trying to use it. They might not be able to see the same information, whatever I am seeing. Reason behind is the access. If if that person does not have access, but I have access, then only I can see that information.
Exactly. Yeah, the security trimming is always being enforced. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, exactly, right. So example of files currently supported by SharePoint agent, all these docs files are supported, but the images and meeting recordings, these are on the way. These features will be added soon.
Yeah, so it supports Microsoft Loop as well. So if you have any Loop pages or Loop, I guess, components that you've created within Teams and whatnot, it can also pull that in.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. That's great.
This slide shows information about approving SharePoint site agents for a site. That can be done by the site admin. Just go on the menu and set it as approved agent. After that, these agents will move to a different folder, that is site assets copilot / approved folder. This folder can be managed manually by the admin only. Similar way, if we want to set a SharePoint agent as a default, that can be done by site admin again. It's simple to set it up. Certain permissions which are needed to manage these SharePoint agents. I mean, I guess this was one of your question. So it's like we talk about admins, that those are the main ones who can control everything. Only from the access perspective, we need the person who has SharePoint admin access. Only that person can give or control the access, whereas the the other person, user, may not have access to do that. Similar way, purview is the DLP policies. If we want to set up data loss prevention policy, we can do that, but that has to be controlled through another product, Microsoft Purview, where we create all these sensitivity labels as well. So we don't need to drain the slide, but all these site permissions are definitely needed. Similar way,
there's different levels of control. So you have, file level permissions, site permissions, but then also you have your purview compliance features like sensitivity labels, DLP, and then there's also ways that you can restrict content from being discovered, which is kind of nice, especially if you have really high risk, potentially really highly sensitive type SharePoint sites and repositories. So that you have that option as well, right?
Right. Yeah. Thank you. How to check usage for the SharePoint? That's easy to do that. Once you click on this icon, and you can always see the graphs and all the information who is using that agent.
And is this only built-in reporting so far?
Sorry?
This is only built-in reporting so far, just to kind of see how many views and interactions there have been?
This is for built-in reporting. Again, talking about the information share protection, our agent will, if you try to share something, if you call the agent in the Teams channel and in the Teams chat or the channel, if people does not have access to the backend SharePoint site, agent will always tell you a user doesn't have access to the knowledge center, and then requester can decide whether they want agent to respond back or they want to hold on that information too. Some of the foundational content governor concept, which are governance scenarios, which are handled either by the SharePoint Advanced Management or through the Microsoft Purview. Those are the ones like you can provide rule-based policies to manage and retire inactive sites. These features are built-in features for the SharePoint Advanced Management SKU. So those will be handled from that perspective. We can create AI-powered policies and reports as well. Similar way, if you want to avoid the oversharing the sensitive data, that is controlled through Purview. DLP policies are controlled through Purview. So it's basically idea behind this information is that you don't need to worry. Once you have the backend set up about the access and control, agent will honor each and every control in place. This is a little bit kind of repetition, but yeah, security and governance control are mentioned separately. You can restrict the content discovery. Whatever protocols have been used for M365 Copilot, that same will be applicable to the agents too. You can display sensitivity labels, you can provide a conditional access, and all that stuff can be done. But all this is handled by either site owner, site admin, or a person who has added permissions. Only those people can control it. So to summarize all of this, these SharePoint files are .agent files. You can store it in the SharePoint site or document library. These are stored along with the other documents as well. You can manage this file like copy, move, delete. The ready-made and the other agents are both of kind of agents are available. Ready-made agents we cannot edit or we cannot delete, but the site owner can make it as approved or unapproved agent. And then this will inherit all the security and sensitivity settings. I'll play this video, just a brief information on end-to-end process.
Your organization is creating more content than ever before, making it overwhelming and time-consuming for users to make sense of it. How can you get answers and meaningful insights that help drive decisions quickly? With SharePoint Agents. Ask a question, and the agent generates responses from only the documents in your SharePoint site, folders, and files, so you can trust the results are relevant. Every SharePoint site comes with a ready-made agent that's specific to the site's content. And if you want an agent unique to your task or project, any SharePoint user can create and use their own agent in one click. Simply choose only the folders or files you need and select Create an Agent. Click Share to choose the colleagues who need access to the agent, and you're ready to make smarter decisions together. Or click Copy Link, paste it into an Outlook email, and send it on. You can also add your link right to a Teams chat, giving others instant access. Simply @mention the agent to get answers to questions from your content. Now you're all working with the same information live. When you and your team are in lockstep, you can act faster on key insights. Make the agent work for you by editing the default name, adding branding and additional, and changing the settings right in the Agent Builder. For deeper customizations, like including sources outside of your SharePoint or adding actions, head to Copilot Studio. Your agents also follow your default SharePoint user permissions and the Microsoft 365 governance and security you already trust. Unlock new insights and foster collaboration to make smarter decisions with SharePoint Agents.
So what's really great about that video is that it also shows, how asking it information and then the information that it receives back, it actually shows you the documents that it pulled those references from, so you can click on those and then dive into those documents and dig into it a little bit further. But it does also show 1, 2, 3, wherever it was pulling that information from those SharePoint sites. So you always have that references, you always know where it's coming from. And again, it's security trimmed. So if we have different levels of security and access, I might get to different results than somebody else does. But yeah, that was very informative.
Right. So it's like I think in general for AI, we have responsible AI principles behind the scenes, which we always follow. So this is one of those principles that whether you work with Copilot or you work with with agents, you are trying to pull some information. One of the principle is transparency. This will tell you from where we are pulling all that information. That's why it's giving you all of those links.
Mhm.
Okay, so a couple of slides on the use case. I mean, we are not going to very deep, but just for the information's sake, no matter whether we talk about customer service, we want to reduce the resolution time, as just now Abdish was giving an example of support ticket, or if we want to talk about reducing the onboarding time for a new employee, marketing or IT services, everywhere it can be implemented. Just an example on how with the agent we can improve marketing effort. So if you provide a launch material in one specific site and you as a source and you ask the questions, this will give you all the information needed at just one click. You don't need to go through all of those documents. This will provide all the summarized information for you. Another example, if you want to onboard an employee, you can save a lot of time for the managers, whereas new team member, they can just provide a simple in natural language a prompt and they can get all the information through the agent, whatever information, if all this related to KPIs and specific documents are available in one location in SharePoint. Another example where you can help with to scale with the best practices for the sales training that can be done through the Teams chat. Just create a link, provide that link in the Teams chat, and then we can use that as agent to get all this information.
And with agent, can you also generate a document? So if you wanted to generate something based on maybe what a template is that's coming from the SharePoint sources, could you generate something new?
Backend, it uses large language model. Yeah, definitely. You can ask that for the similar things what you were doing before with the Copilot, that can be done with the agent as well.
Perfect.
Then last one is how Microsoft internally using the SharePoint agents to boost the efficiency. So exactly the same thing. It can help you to enhance accuracy, efficiency, cost saving, all those can be done. So provide the quality content, test your agent and compare it, and then you validate with the actual business outcome. That's only the three steps are really important ones. Little bit information on licensing piece. There are two ways to get the SharePoint agent licensing. Either we can buy it along with the Copilot licenses per user, or if you want to buy it, you can buy it with the pay as you go with Azure subscription as well. Just this promotion is going on. Just a slide on that promotion, that at the moment, if you buy 53 M365 Copilot licenses, you'll be able to interact with the SharePoint agents. This is valid till 30th June. In case if you're interested, you can always reach out to the sales rep, whosoever is there from the Microsoft Teams perspective, and you can talk about how to you make use of this promotion.
Yeah, and with the pay-as-you-go, that's based on the number of prompts and interactions that you're having with the agent, right?
Exactly. Pay as you go, definitely. That will depend on the messages and all these things you'll have to decide. But whatever you use, you'll be billed against those messages only.
Okay.
And now we are towards the end, like recent public roadmap about these SharePoint agents. Few of the things are already available, but few are coming up in the upcoming next few months as well. Like availability of agents in Teams channel or adding multiple SharePoint agents in Teams chat and meetings. Those things are in it. They are not GA'd yet. They're coming up in June timeframe.
So which of these roadmap updates are you most excited about? And do you think would be the most powerful addition into the agent suite?
I guess mostly people are interested to work with more than one agent. That is the trend we see. A lot of people are interested to see how multi-agent scenarios can work together.
Yeah, that definitely sounds exciting. Be able to put that in a single chat.
Yep.
But again,
Right.
that's where multi-agent we come into play, or IT admins come into play, because if you create too many agents, so agent sprawl is another challenge which will happen. You might have 100 agents. You don't want to push 100 agents into a chat. So yeah, that is something we need to plan.
So then from more of an administrator perspective, you're, not only having to manage, like site and team sprawl, but this will be a new thing
Yes.
within the environment. You're going to have agent sprawl and other things that are being injected into Teams chats and things like that from your end users that you'll have to kind of govern as well.
Correct. And you need to create policies like DLP policies to make sure, for example, in Microsoft, when I create an agent for testing purpose, it kills itself in 2 hours. It basically removes itself. For testing, I can do that. But if you want to create an agent, like personal agents are fine. If I want to create agent for the organization, it has to go through an approval process and a policy.
Right.
And I guess that is really important thing. Otherwise, like we will end up in all sorts of like security related issues.
I don't see anything in our Q&A, and I think that Avnish addressed the one question they had in the chat. I know we're kind of at time, so if there's any last questions that anyone may have, you can put that in the chat, and then we can address that after the webinar. We'll send out an email and address that later. But I just want to say, I'm very excited about Microsoft Copilot, what's capable with all these different various agents, and having the ability to customize it using Copilot Studio, and just how we saw with SharePoint Agents, just how easy it is to just connect it to your data and your files where it already resides. You don't have to do anything special. Just point it to it, say what you want for some suggestion prompts and how you want it to interact it, test it, and then really roll that out. So I think it's very, very powerful. Was there anything else, Avnish or Prabhjot, that you wanted to kind of summarize at the end, and then we can wrap this up?
No, we are good.
We are done more or
Thank
less,
you.
but yeah. But only thing is agents are coming, so we need to be ready for them. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very exciting time. I'm very thrilled with how many things are upcoming as well as what's on the roadmap. And I just want to thank everyone for attending the webinar today. Lots of exciting things that are coming with Copilot. We really look forward to implementing it as well as various agents as well within SharePoint and all the other accessibility. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day.
Thank
Take care.
you. Thanks. Bye-bye.